I have been with my husband for 7 years, and it honestly unalives me to walk away, because outside of this issue, he is fantastic. He takes care of me, loves me, makes sure I'm taken care of, etc., and I love him more than anything. But this issue has been happening for the past year, and it's basically ruined my reputation among everyone. Last year, he started working for a small business and is one of 12 employees. Up until this point, he didn't have many friends. So his social life was heavily stunted, and he craved interaction. So when he started working for this company and was immediately included in everything, he soaked it in. He was being invited to dinner, parties, boat trips, fires, etc., within the first week of working there. By a month in, he was hanging out with these guys nearly every day after he got off work. He started drinking a lot more because all of these men drink like a fish, and he is an individual who cracks under peer pressure and is a follower by nature. He told me several times that he felt like he couldn't say no. It started causing a lot of fights because I was pregnant when this began, and I felt so pushed to the side and forgotten about. He started coming home from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. He was off work at 4:30 p.m., a few times having stayed out until 5 o'clock in the morning. I started shutting down because I was tired of repeating myself and expressing my needs, just to have him do whatever his friends wanted anyways. After I gave birth to our daughter, he got better for a while. He stopped going out. I think by the time the baby was 3 months old, he had only gone out once. But after that, he fell right back into old patterns and didn't even tell me when he was leaving anymore. I would think he was home, but he had left to go riding four-wheelers with his buddies or to a party down the street. So, a month ago, I went psycho. I walked over to the window just as he was taking off on his four-wheeler and watched him pull into our neighbor's yard, a big party spot. I walked down there with the baby and lost my chute on him in front of everyone there and told him I was leaving because he was inconsiderate and neglectful, and I was tired of repeating myself. Everyone just sat there staring at me, completely silent. I have never been so embarrassed in my life. I shouldn't have gone up there at all, but in that moment, I just didn't even think about it. Now I regret it. But anyways, he literally looks at me and doesn't say anything. Comes home 30 minutes later and goes to sleep on the floor. He stopped going out after that. But I started noticing that everyone was treating me like crap. If I spoke to anyone, they would just look at me and walk away, or they would avoid me altogether. It became very awkward, and I stopped going outside at all and started isolating. Well, I overheard my husband on the phone last night saying, "I know, man, I wish I could come, but Hannah won't let me," followed by a, "I know, it's nonsense." I asked him who he was talking to. He hangs up. I asked to see his phone, and he kept asking why, but eventually gave it to me. There were tens of texts to his buddies blaming me for him not going out, saying, "Hannah won't let me," or "Hannah said no," or "I can't freaking do anything because Lord forbid I get time to myself after busting my butt to keep a roof over her head." He had not asked me one single time if I minded if he went out, so he just told them no and blamed me without even running it by me. This is not who my husband was before he got tied in with this group of coworkers. I just start packing up me and my daughter. He was following me around the house, begging, crying, telling me not to leave, apologizing. Before I left, I said, "I've sat by and dealt with being chosen second to a bunch of people who would never choose you first, and you still blamed me and made me look like the one in the wrong. Now you can live the life you want without me controlling you. I am at my mother's and have told him not to contact me unless it's about our child. My best friend is telling me I need to work it out because my husband is truly a great guy, and I know this isn't him. But I can't trust him anymore. Am I the idiot?" Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. My best friend is telling me I need to work it out because my husband is truly a great guy, and I know this isn't him. Was someone else living with you in the same home for over a year? No? Then it was him. Yes, it is him. He is the choice he makes. He's a spineless coward that would rather slander his wife than be assertive and own the fact that being a father and husband is or was a major part of his life. By not doing so, he shows he doesn't take those roles seriously. Actually, he made sure to shoot all over them. This was the only course of action that makes sense for any woman with self-respect. Comment 2. Not the idiot for being upset at basically being abandoned, and also, not the idiot for going to your parents since you found he is talking shoot about you. You already know yelling at him in front of a bunch of people was not great, but it's understandable. I'm not sure if he can make amends at this point. I think only you can decide because he has broken your trust by being so easily led into acting like you don't matter. What's going to influence him next? A social influencer? Another woman? A cult? How old is he anyway? This is very immature behavior. Now for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a while since my last update, and I want to thank you all for your support and advice during this difficult time. It's been a challenging 3 months, but I feel like I'm finally starting to see things more clearly. After leaving my husband and staying with my mother, I took some time to reflect on our relationship and the events that led to our separation. I realized that my husband's behavior had been slowly changing over the past year, and I'd been too caught up in my own emotions to see it clearly. About a month after I left, my husband reached out to me and asked if we could meet up to talk. I was hesitant at first, but I agreed to meet him at a neutral location. When we met, he looked like a different person. He had lost weight, and his eyes were red and puffy like he had been crying. He apologized for his behavior and admitted that he had been struggling with his own insecurities and the pressure to fit in with his new coworkers. He told me that he had been attending therapy sessions and had started to realize how much he had hurt me and our daughter. He said that he had been so focused on trying to be accepted by his coworkers that he had lost sight of what was truly important to him. I listened to him, and I could see the sincerity in his eyes. I told him that I appreciated his apology, but I wasn't ready to forgive him just yet. I needed time to heal and to rebuild my trust in him. Over the next few weeks, my husband continued to attend therapy and started making changes in his life. He stopped hanging out with his coworkers after work and started spending more time with our daughter and me. He also started taking on more responsibilities at home and helping out with the baby. As I watched him make these changes, I started to feel a glimmer of hope for our relationship. I realized that I still loved him deeply, and I wanted to give our marriage another chance. One evening, as we were putting our daughter to bed, my husband turned to me and said, "I know I've made a lot of mistakes, but I want you to know that I love you more than anything in this world. I'm going to spend the rest of my life proving that to you." His words touched me deeply, and I could feel the tears welling up in my eyes. I realized that I had been holding on to a lot of anger and resentment towards him, but I also knew that I didn't want to throw away our marriage without giving it a real chance. We decided to start attending couples therapy together, and it has been a game changer for us. We've been able to work through a lot of our issues and rebuild our trust in each other. It hasn't been easy, but we're both committed to making our marriage work. Looking back, I realized that my husband's behavior was a symptom of a deeper issue. He had been struggling with his own insecurities and the pressure to fit in, and he had lost sight of what was truly important to him. It took hitting rock bottom for him to realize that he needed to make a change. I'm grateful that we were able to work through our issues and rebuild our relationship. It hasn't been easy, but I know that we're stronger because of it. I'm also grateful for the support of my family and friends during this difficult time. Thank you all for listening and for your continued support. I know that we still have a long way to go, but I'm hopeful for our future together. Am I the idiot for cutting off my in-laws after learning they have an open relationship and my husband knew? Hi everyone, I need a second opinion badly. So I'm 28 years old. Husband is 27 years old. His parents are in their early 50s and late 40s. Husband and I have 2 kids under 10 years old. Straight to the point, my daughter came home from her grandparents' place recently with a new toy. It was expensive. In-laws are not that rich, and they're super stingy. I questioned her, and she told me that Grandma and Grandpa's special friend got it for me. Instant red flag. Questioned my son, same thing. Went to my husband, and he suddenly was very quiet. I pressed and learned that his parents have an open relationship. I didn't get many details since he was embarrassed and ashamed of the fact, but I blew up. I have no idea who this special friend is. When I take my kids over to the in-laws, they're there to see their grandparents, not their grandparents' special friend. The fact that they let my kids around them was more than enough for me to go full mama bear mode. I fought with my husband that night about keeping that from me. Keeping that from me was huge in my eyes. He let our children go over there knowing his parents were up to stuff. He claimed that it wasn't his business, so it shouldn't be mine either. I said that our kids were exposed to strangers, so yes, it is my business, and it should be his too. We didn't reach an agreement. I found out through my kids that almost every time they go over, there's someone new around. Sometimes the in-laws even leave and let their friends watch my children. I felt sick. I called my mother-in-law and cussed her out. My children are not seeing their grandparents for the foreseeable future, and my husband is angry with me. In-laws too, but I'm so angry I can't interact with them. I might go to prison if I do. I want to divorce my husband. He's been angry, pleading, begging, yelling at me, crying, getting me gifts, everything. He says I'm throwing everything away over something his parents did, so why punish him and the kids? Why break up a happy family? My friends are saying that I'm overreacting. My husband's friends are calling me a jerk, and the only person on my side is my mom. My parents are fighting too because my mom sided with me. I don't think I'm wrong, but the kids miss their grandparents and liked their friends because they always brought them gifts and played with them. I don't trust this. I feel like I'm going crazy. Am I overreacting? I'm in the guest room spiraling. Am I the idiot for wanting to divorce? Please help. Edit important info. My husband says that he has known about his parents' openness since he was a kid. He claims that his parents had no idea that he even knew, including now, but I don't believe that. He said that it was never his business, he was embarrassed, and he had no idea that his parents were still doing this. Claims he didn't know that they were bringing them around the kids too. I don't buy it at all. If they did that when he was a kid, why stop with ours? Forgot to add it since I'm not thinking well. Just word dumped. This is also why I want the divorce. I believe that he knew all along but neglected to tell me. That key piece of information is what's really doing it for me. I need to calm down again before I can properly address anything. Reading some of the comments, I can see that I'm still in angry shock mode and I can't make good decisions like this. Thank you for the help so far. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. In-laws don't have to disclose their personal life, but they should tell the parents if they are hosting people they don't know while the children will be there. And they definitely should never leave the children with people the parents don't know and didn't agree to allow babysitting. In-laws broke your trust, and forbidding them babysitting and having unsupervised contact with children is the minimum consequence. Before making any decisions about your marriage, try counseling, at least so you both can discuss the situation with a neutral party, not the idiot. Comment 2. Girl. Your husband's parents' intimacy life is none of his concern. It's also none of your concern. Is your intimacy life any of your kids' business? You're misplacing your anger. Your husband didn't leave his kids alone with a stranger. His parents did that. Blow up at them. Supervised visits at your home only or no contact at all. But you need to get yourself under control before you go breaking your family to bits. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a couple of weeks since my last post, and I wanted to give you an update on what's been happening. First of all, thank you for all your support and advice. It really means a lot to me. So after my initial post, I decided to take some time to calm down and think things through. I had a long conversation with my husband, and he assured me that he had no idea his parents were still engaging in their open relationship, or that they were bringing their friends around our kids. He apologized for not telling me about his parents' lifestyle earlier, and promised to be more open and honest with me in the future. I decided to give him the benefit of the doubt and try to work things out. We agreed to set some boundaries with his parents, including no more unsupervised visits with the kids and no more friends around them. My husband called his parents and had a serious talk with them, explaining our concerns and the new rules we were putting in place. At first, things seemed to be going well. The kids were adjusting to not seeing their grandparents as often, and my husband and I were communicating better. However, about a week ago, I made a mistake that changed everything. I decided to surprise my husband at work with lunch, thinking it would be a nice gesture. When I arrived at his office, his secretary told me he was in a meeting. I insisted on waiting, but after about an hour, I got impatient and decided to peek into the conference room. What I saw shocked me. My husband was in the room with a woman I had never seen before. They were sitting close together, and she had her hand on his thigh. I couldn't believe my eyes. I burst into the room, demanding to know what was going on. My husband looked like a deer caught in headlights, and the woman quickly removed her hand. I didn't give them a chance to explain. I stormed out of the office, got in my car, and drove home. I was shaking with anger and betrayal. When my husband got home that evening, I confronted him. He tried to explain that the woman was a new client and that nothing inappropriate had happened, but I didn't believe him. We got into a huge fight, and I ended up packing a bag and leaving with the kids. We've been staying with my mom for the past few days, and I'm at a loss for what to do. I feel like my whole world has been turned upside down. I thought my husband and I were working on rebuilding trust, but now I don't know if I can ever trust him again. Looking back, I realized that there were signs I missed. My husband had been working late more often and was always on his phone, even when we were supposed to be spending time together. I chalked it up to stress at work, but now I wonder if there was more to it. I also found out that my mother-in-law had been telling people that I was overreacting and that their lifestyle was none of my business. It hurt to hear that she was talking about me behind my back, especially after I had trusted her with my children. I'm not sure where to go from here. Part of me wants to file for divorce and move on with my life, but another part of me still loves my husband and wants to believe that we can work through this. I worry about the impact a divorce would have on our kids, who are already struggling with the changes in our family. I'm trying to take things one day at a time, but it's hard. I feel like I'm constantly on edge, waiting for the next bomb to drop. I'm grateful for my mom's support, but I know I can't stay with her forever. Thank you for listening and for all your advice. I'll keep you updated on what happens next. Am I the idiot for refusing to pay child support for a baby that isn't mine, even after my ex's accident? I broke up with my ex when she got pregnant. The reason being we didn't have intimacy for 15 weeks. I work for 6 weeks, then I get 3 weeks off. During the 3 weeks I was home, we didn't have intimacy. My grandfather had passed away, so I went out to my grandma's house to help her. So there was a period of 15 weeks where any kid she got pregnant with was not mine. I was home for 5 days of those 3 weeks, but we didn't have intimacy. Just making sure that everyone understands before they comment. She didn't tell our friends and family that information, though, so they all thought I was just an irresponsible jerk who knocked her up and ran away. On the off chance that she got pregnant before those 15 weeks and she just didn't know, I said that I would agree to get back together and pay child support if it was mine. She said she didn't want me back, just child support. So be it. I understand how evil I would be if I was wrong. I was not. The baby boy was born after the right amount of pregnancy for it to have happened while I was not the father. A bunch of our friends and family are insisting that I should pay child support because we were together when she got pregnant. She even tried taking me to court. I just paid a lawyer to deal with her. I'm not the father. We weren't living together. I'm not on the birth certificate. This is not my problem. She is going around crying to people that I am a monster for leaving her like this, that she would never have had the baby if she had known I wouldn't stick around to help, blah, blah, blah. Most people are on my side now, but not my mom, my sister, one of my aunts, and several friends. So I made a public Facebook post. I said that everyone who thought I should pay child support could sign a contract, stating that they would help pay the child support, and I would match whatever they paid. But it had to be a legal contract, and it had to be for 18 years. Nobody signed up. I posted screenshots of messages I had gotten from all of them saying that I needed to step up. I got blocked a lot. My sister, who is friends with my ex, said I was a jerk for expecting other people to pay child support for a kid that wasn't theirs. I took a screenshot of that message, and it is the header of my profile on Facebook. My sister blocked me. My mom finally understands that I am not willing to throw away money. She is just sad because my ex is her friend's daughter. This whole thing made me come off as an butt, but I don't think I'm the jerk for pointing out their hypocrisy. #edit. When I say I was not, I meant that we got a paternity test and proved I am not the father. I didn't just go by time or anything like that. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. If the kid really isn't yours, not the idiot. She not only cheated but got pregnant with another guy's child, and she expects you to pay child support? And I like your idea of the friends and family that keep pushing you to pay it to match their contribution. But the execution might not have been the best, putting it all on social media. I would just ignore or block the people that would tell me to pay child support if I was in such a situation. Your ex is the biggest AH here if the kid is not yours. Comment 2. It's just funny how they have literally seen physical evidence that it isn't even his kid, and yet people still think he's a jerk for not paying for a child that isn't even his. Now, for the update. Hey everyone! Thanks for reading my last post and for all the support. It's been a crazy month since I last updated you all. So a few weeks after my last post, my ex showed up at my door with the baby. She was a mess, crying and begging me to take her back. She said she couldn't do this alone and that she needed me. I felt bad for her, but I stood my ground. I told her that I couldn't be with someone who had lied to me and cheated on me. She got angry and started yelling at me, saying that I was a heartless bastard and that I would regret this. She left, slamming the door behind her. A few days later, I got a call from my mom. She told me that my ex had been in a car accident. She was okay, but the baby was in the hospital. I rushed to the hospital, not knowing what to expect. When I got there, I found out that the baby had a broken arm and a concussion. The doctors said he would be okay, but it was a close call. My ex was a wreck. She couldn't stop crying and blaming herself for what had happened. I tried to comfort her, but she pushed me away. She said that this was all my fault, that if I had been there for her, none of this would have happened. I didn't know what to do. I felt guilty, even though I knew I wasn't responsible for what had happened. I stayed with her at the hospital for a few days, trying to help out where I could. But it was clear that she didn't want me there. When the baby was released from the hospital, my ex asked me to come over and help her out for a few days. I agreed, thinking that it was the least I could do. But when I got there, I found out that she had been seeing someone else. The guy was there, helping her take care of the baby. I was shocked. I couldn't believe that she had moved on so quickly. I confronted her about it, and she admitted that she had been seeing him for a few weeks. She said that he was there for her when I wasn't, and that she needed someone who would be a father to her child. I was hurt and angry. I felt like I had been betrayed all over again. I left her house and didn't look back. But then, a few days ago, I got a call from my ex's mom. She told me that my ex had been arrested for drug possession. She had been struggling with addiction for years, but had managed to keep it hidden from everyone. Her mom begged me to help, saying that my ex needed me now more than ever. I didn't know what to do. On one hand, I felt like I had been through enough with my ex, and that I needed to move on with my life. But on the other hand, I couldn't just abandon her when she was at her lowest point. I went to see her in jail. She looked terrible, like she hadn't slept in days. She cried and apologized for everything she had put me through. She said that she knew she had messed up, but that she was ready to get help and turn her life around. I told her that I would support her, but that I couldn't be with her romantically. I said that I would help her get into rehab, and that I would be there for her as a friend, but nothing more. She agreed, and I helped her get into a rehab program. It's been a few weeks now, and she seems to be doing better. She's still got a long way to go, but I'm hopeful that she'll be able to turn things around. As for me, I'm still trying to process everything that's happened. I know that I made the right decision by not getting back together with my ex, but it's still hard to see her struggling like this. I'm just trying to focus on moving forward and building a life for myself. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks again for all the support and kind words. It means a lot to me. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day!